The other day in class, we started to look at imperialism. We started to look at foreign policy as well, and just how involved the United States wanted to get in foreign affairs, right? Things happening outside of our country. And so today we're going to start looking at some of the earliest attempts at that expansion. Just to take a moment to review what we have already covered this semester, we talked about westward expansion, right? And then we got to the close of the Western frontier. And now what? Then we moved into the Gilded Age, where we had that industrial expansion. We talked about a lot of the issues during the Gilded Age that came up because of that industrial expansion and how quickly it happened. We talked about immigration. We talked about the internal population shift as well of people moving into the cities. We then moved to progressivism. That's kind of cleaning up some of the issues from the Gilded Age that we talked about. And we had a lot of legislative reform and social reform that helped do that. So that's just kind of a reminder of what we've all covered so far this semester. But again, now we're going to look at, okay, well, if this is all happening in our country, what's happening outside of our country and how involved do we get? There are a multitude of reasons as to why the United States would look to expand, especially at this particular time in our country's history. One of those is an opportunity for new markets. We, of course, know that with the industrial expansion that was happening during the Gilded Age, we now had a lot more products, right? With the creation of that assembly line, products are coming off of the assembly line so much quicker than what they used to before. So now we have opportunity for new markets to sell these things that we had laying around. Of course, though, with the new markets and the opportunity, you have to be able to get the goods to these new places. And during this time, we really see our Navy being bolstered. That was something important to Teddy Roosevelt as a president, the idea of making our Navy as strong as we possibly could to protect that international trade. He's known for a very famous quote of his, speak softly and carry a big stick. The idea with that is to use diplomacy, to use words, not weapons, whenever possible. But just in case that's not enough, you want to have a strong Navy to back you up. Another reason why we're looking to expand at the time is the fact that Europe was doing it. When we talk about imperialism, I use the example how Great Britain had colonies all over the world, and that's exactly what that quote means. The sun never sets on the British Empire, meaning that no matter what time of day it was, the sun was always shining on one colony that belonged to Great Britain. So, and it wasn't just Great Britain, but other countries in Europe as well were expanding and were taking over various parts of the world. We also looked at it as a way to enlighten, and notice that's in quotes, enlighten other cultures. Very similar to our thought with Native Americans as well, to kind of try to Americanize people, to get them to convert to Christianity. We believe that we were enlightening other cultures and felt like it was our responsibility to do that. And then, of course, the last reason, and there might be others other than just these four, this just highlights four major ones, is to again preserve the American spirit. We talked about the Turner thesis during westward expansion, the idea that the American spirit lies within the frontier, the spirit of opportunity and freedom and the unknown, that lies in the frontier. And that when that closed, we then had to look outside of our borders to find that. Another aspect that we want to look at during this particular era of history is the importance of the media during that time. The media are incredibly important today, and they were at this time as well. But this is when we see the media start to be used to kind of sway some public opinions. And it was with the use of what's called yellow journalism. These are dramatic headlines. Oftentimes they're exaggerated, really, not only just to grab your attention, but then when you read the stories, it's to help sway public opinion. If you remember, prior to this time, our country, we did not want to be involved in foreign affairs and other people's business, and so we practiced isolationism. However, journalists were able then to start using yellow journalism to sway public opinion. So, for example, when we ended up in the Spanish-American War, it's because Spain was ruling over Cuba, and so you would see the idea that Spain is this ruthless enemy, and they would use terms and words that were exaggerated to really sway again that public opinion to try to get people more willing to move away from isolationism. What I want you to do now is to read the PDF. It's in Schoology, the PDF on the Spanish-American War. It's done a nice job of really summarizing the war for you. But as you're reading through it, I want you to make sure that you're underlining key events that happened throughout the war, so that you are able to kind of understand really the big picture of the war, what caused it, and then the results of it as well.